Hello, everyone. This is Mike. You know me, I guess. And I'm really excited to be here. Why? Because today we have the guest, the creative director of one of the best UI creative studios in the world. I don't afraid to say these words because we know that they are one of the best, maybe even the best. I don't know, the better studios with better visuals. So today we will talk about the studio, about the structure, about the projects. But besides that, so you know that we always cover different questions which could be interesting for you. But if you have any questions or you want to tell us some story or just some relevant information, feel free to text your feedback, your questions to our chat. I will read the most relevant information. We also have some questions which we will cover, but I guess that's it. So just enjoy, and today it will be interesting. So, Frédéric, welcome. Could you tell us more about you, about yourself, about the studio, about the structure of the studio? And as I know that you also want to share the showreel of your studio, maybe it will help to discover some information for some audience. Hi.
All right. Hi, Mike. Thanks for the humble presentation. So yeah, I'm Frédéric. I founded the agency about 13 years ago with Jean-François and Mathieu, my partners. As you said, we're going to share quickly a video for people to see a bit what is Locomotive. I think is no better than images to see that, and then we can go on and discuss a bit about that.
Cool. Let's see it.
Let me share.
Actually, I didn't see it before, so it will be a surprise for me as well. So it's really cool. I will be one of those guests which are looking for.
All right, so let's start.
Let me jog it. I just keep them bank notes. Whoa, I don't judge. Can't you see this carpet out? Pack a hole, you got this. Skirt off in that spaceship and yo, she might cockpit. Think I'm going up. I might do too much. Think I'm going up. I might do too much. Think I'm going up. Think I'm going up. Think I'm going up. I might do too much.
This is Locomotive. So basically, we're a team of less than 30 people in-house. So always trying, and the objective was to stay small. An agency, a studio, I'm not sure, but definitely want to keep this human size. So we have a full creative capacity in-house, which is probably one of our strengths. Design and UX, I think, is a big strength at Locomotive, and I think we are recognized for that in part. But we also have a full development team, creative developer, and backend developer. We develop our own systems like Charcoal, CMS. So there's some people managing that and making sure that we can actually handle these projects from creativity to creative to execution. And then we have a full digital producer team, which handle all the communication with clients and making sure that everyone's happy on one side and the other. So that kind of forms Locomotive in itself. We do work with some freelance sometimes for specific project in terms of content. If you want to create something specific, if it's 3D, if it's going to shoot, but definitely our goal was always to kind of control the message and to kind of do as much as possible everything in-house and evolve through this project.
Cool, thank you so much.
We actually try to building these projects, building website, mostly brand experiences. I think the focus for us in-house was really not to do great projects, but to have actually create a team that will enforce this, and making sure that I think it's the team that actually created these projects, and to make them motivated. I think this is the first goal for us, and trying to find these talents and making sure they're happy to create these outstanding projects.
Cool. I have the question in advance. So I have the question how to get to Locomotive, but we will get back to this question a bit later. Right. So we will talk about your talents. How are you looking for that? But before that, I know that, and I'm sure that our audience, they know the fact that you have more than 100 awards. And I'm sure that all the UI designers, they know different awards and they're interested in that. So I want to ask you, so could you tell us more about them, about these awards? How do you prioritize them? What do you do to get them? And what do they mean or give to the studio?
Okay, first, well, the awards are not the most important thing. Definitely, we do work for the passion of creating, and the objective of the clients are always the first goal. But definitely, these awards help to build the relationship with clients, but with also colleagues, bring some pride in the team. So I think it's how to get them. There's no secret answer. I think it takes time. I think it's creating the best environment for creativity possible. So it comes in different options. Definitely we don't want to push people in working extra hours. I don't think it's by working more, but it's working more efficiently with the team. So collaboration has been big keywords, I guess, for everyone in the past years with COVID and stuff. Collaboration needs to be even stronger being at home. So I think we keep enforcing the process, because no one likes to do things twice. Instead of improving the project or doing things twice, I think it's always focusing on creating this environment for creativity. That helps definitely the track records and the awards itself. How to get them more specifically, I guess, learning, practicing. A lot of people are doing this outside of work, and just eating design and these type of projects. So I think it's by inspiration is a big part of this. Now you need to find, inspiration and your own style, by finding this inspiration. So I think it's just by being in it every day and being so passionate about it that gets us there. Definitely 100 awards. I didn't even know that there was awards, hundreds now. But thanks for the stats.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Because we even announced, so we put it to announcement that you have 100, if I'm not wrong, so 101. Award, and 52 of them it's awards, like WWW awards. So
that's
that
right.
is the
Okay,
issue.
that's right.
That's why
I was confused. I was confused about this. Yeah. Okay.
And
that
can you tell us more about? Maybe you can answer to this question. Like, what is the balance, and where is it to balance between the work for client and work for award? So where you should stop doing art and make it really like productive and cool for the client?
I think that we're a weird animal, I guess. We are doing some project not for first year or for like this new shoes coming up. Usually our projects usually have a kind of a purpose, so it can be very various type of clients. Definitely, as I was mentioning, we don't work for awards. I think we work for making good digital products, websites. So I think it's to keep that kind of focus on the objective, working the UX, not thinking that we're gonna work and win an awards. We actually in the past years kind of put back the reflection on how animation, should be used, why we're using so much animation, and how people are reacting to it. So it's been a big topic for us, and I think we're balancing a bit more now and trying to find, yes, something that will stand out, that help to win awards when things stand out. But I don't think it's just animation. I think it's a good balance between, good design, good interaction, animation, and, a product that actually serves something and that tells some kind of a story. That can be in any form, even in a B2B department. We, with these type of client that can sound not as exciting. I think our job is to make this look exciting. So I guess that's where we lies more or less.
Cool. So you need to find this balance, and find at the same moment you need to find the chemistry with the client. So to let them understand that it will be the perfect match.
I think it's all about the fit, and we tend to say no a lot these days. There's a lot of clients coming in, and we're not shy at first. You don't want to offend anyone, and I think you need to take a stance. And a lot of people talk about value, and should I tell about how many hours I spend on this, and should I tell about the value I bring? So I think that's where also we've been working in the past years, making sure that we find the fit with these clients, making sure that they know the value, and know what they're coming to buy from us. Usually it builds great relationship, a relationship that will last at least 4 or 6 months, even more sometimes. So we want to make sure that we have that fit, just like when we hire a new talent, where it's 50% is the fit. Are we going to get along together? Do we have the same mindset? Are we as motivated, and to build something together? This is just the same thing when we build for something for a client. He needs to be on board. He needs to be ready. He needs to be knowing, what we can bring to the table, because we all bring 50% of the final product. The client knows, the subject knows his content, tells that he knows his content most of the time. That's another topic, but basically, I think it's a collaborative effort, and we need everyone to have the right fit, and have the right mindset to get these great projects.
Cool. Cool. Thank you. We have the question from one of our mentors. So First of all, I'm a big fan of your works. Me as well, but it's from Ilya. So humble question. What are the proportions of Locomotive's projects? I mean projects with long-term contracts for huge digital products and Awwwards winners.
Great question. It's been again, we're always challenging our process, but also the type of clients that we take on. What happened, what went wrong to these clients. I think we realized that we're not big developer for a heavy product. I think these clients have huge expectations, so we tend now to just be very careful about taking on a bigger project like that needs to be spent more than 1,000 hours. I think for a few things, well, first, it's not our core skill. It's not where we are the best at. We think. I think we're better at small to medium size project where there's room for creativity. I think these digital products that are a bit larger, I think we really find the one that we're interested in, that we want to spend time investing time on the long run with these clients, because they do take a lot of time and can definitely break agencies' mood. You can lose people. There's a lot of bad things that can happen taking on too many of these bigger clients. It might the paycheck might be tempting, but you might be spending so many unpaid hours because there's so many details. It can get tricky. So we're very careful with that now. And I think what to learn there is to really focus on what we're best at, and just pushing this as far as possible.
Cool. Thank you so much. We have so many questions. Irina, we will get back to your question about the work at Locomotive and about the team itself, just because I have it a bit later. But before that, I want to get to my question, and also, so let's work. So tell us more about your projects and the clients. Which work do you prefer to work on, and how do you find the clients? And also I want to add the question to this one, the question from the audience: which project is the most, like, you are the most proud of, and why? So tell us more about the clients, projects, and how do you work with the clients? We already heard about chemistry. We know that you need to have this balance, but yeah, so.
Well, in terms of the type of clients, again, we don't aim for like first tier client much, you know, like putting ourselves into legal terms, retainers, being forced to work on projects that don't really resonate to us or to our team. So definitely we focus on clients with, with the right attitude and the right mindset, where I was telling. I think we consider ourselves a bit jack of all trades, where we don't have specific, verticals. I think there's some vertical chose us more than we chose them at some point, but definitely the sports vertical. We've been working with a lot of sports, Olympic sports in Canada, recently launching the site for the biggest sports organization in the world.
Cool.
I'd rather not mention right now until we have the go, but you can find it live. And focusing a lot of technology. So a lot right now, there's a lot of bigger startup AI project. I think we really fond on technology and cloud like product and stuff like that, where we can present, showcase the product, showcase the value of it, and bring leads to client to get clients. So that's really our bread and butter, basically. Definitely we try to find balance between more maybe social work, like we work with some organization for conjugal violence, for example. We've been building SOS Violence Conjugale. We've been working on some projects. So always trying to balance and find, as much as possible, positive focused client, that sells a positive product. So sports, definitely work with some municipality as well, kind of building tools for citizens and kind of making better communication, more transparent between clients, between the city and the citizens. So again, like we're a bit all over the place. I think delivering a specific product, like UX design and development, but for various industries. I think it's just about who's the most motivated to work with us.
Cool.
And where we find our client, to be honest, thanks to Awwwards.com, sorry for the plug, but they've been helping us, like we've been having a lot of leads coming from them. Usually they're educated clients that already been looking at our project, looking at references on Awwwards, come up with a brief. They know our project, they know a bit about us. So that's something that really resonates when they already did their homework. And we see some great websites from our peers also on Awwwards. I think this is a great platform, and definitely it's been helping us to get water into the well and be able to just kind of choose the best one. So that's a bit where, like, I think the site itself, our website, it's our best sales not person, but sales machine. And it leads to Lisa, the Locomotive interactive super assistant. We wanted to make that kind of lead generation exciting, interactive. So most of our leads come through there. There's not a lot of networking or a more traditional way, not a lot of cold calling. We've been there. We're happy to be elsewhere today, definitely.
Cool. Thank you so much. But we have the follow-up questions about the clients and about the design. You already said that it's really cool that you mentioned that people come from, the clients come from Awwwards, so they are ready for this crazy website, for crazy animation and so on. We have two questions, and I guess that we could combine them. Maybe I'm wrong, but first, hello, I have the question about the democratic approach within the team. How do you decide whose UI concept to show to a client? Who from the team takes the final word? And another question is, how do you deal with the client's crazy UI ideas? Not suitable.
Okay, first part of the question. Democracy in the team. This is quite important for us. Everyone who joins the team, you don't need to be a senior to get your idea through the project. We're not this kind of agency where the DC or the art director takes all the decision and drive the chain of command and ask people to do things they don't really understand or want to do or might want to challenge. This is part of the work, we sit together and this is the challenge today until we come back to the office of how we do that. More hangouts meeting are happening to make sure we have all the person that are involved in the project to put their words on. So a bit how it works is usually we involve more people. So a bit more meeting, a bit more involvement early in the project with the creative director, the creative developer. Sometime if there's a tech challenge, there's going to be the backend developer, the art director and the producer. So early on in the project, they all meet the client. We can discuss all the different points, making sure that we don't get to a point where we get an art direction approved that is actually way beyond like the budget to realize in development, and then there's a fight coming on like into the teams because ideas, like things should have been validated first. So there's kind of validation that go through this process. So involvement of people, democracy, and the ideas of where this project will be going, and kind of evaluating on the go. Like we evaluate a project out of thin air, to start with. So as soon as we have our direction, we have a UX strategy, we have wireframes, we can assess with the developer and making sure that we all agree what we're going to do, what's the limitation we have, and if we need to address budget, if we need to address new ideas that came up to the table. We don't want to be closed with the budget, but open to discuss this to the client so we can move after our direction to a prototype with in mind that we have some tweaking. Maybe we have more budget, maybe we don't have more budget. So we need to do some adaptation to make sure or not we want to fit within the given budget. We do give some love into some specific project, sometimes because some colleagues have some special love for this project, because it's a collab that we do with like things like Pangram, where we're launching a site soon, the font company. We did put a lot of time into that. He did put budget, but there was a big love and big involvement to that, and we're really excited for this to launch. But every project we kind of define where we want to put the love, and if we want to put extra time into making sure that we get to every dream we want to achieve for these projects.
Cool.
Long answer, right?
No, it's so cool because you shared all the structure, all the flow, so it's really cool. Yeah. But what about these? What about the second question about crazy UI ideas, not
crazy
suitable
UI
ideas?
Okay, so I think by having the people, like we do hire a bit more junior people. Definitely, we're looking for the best talented people. Some people that can grow and learn, but also teach us. But a lot of people have some seniority, so I think we like to define kind of activate the trust that we say early on in the process, and making sure that we nail a great presentation to present the UX strategy, UI. So usually the client, is like, okay, he's got the confidence, he's got the trust. So it kind of, maybe it helps to, prevent a bit of the crazy UX ideas that any people in this company might have. We kind of set the tone. We put our foot on the table, put some boundaries, and instead of having them thinking about crazy UX idea, we bring them into a work session and we discuss those crazy UX idea together, and making sure that we align budget, objective, and actually capabilities, and agree together. So again, 50-50. They feel they actually gave part of the answer or give their thoughts on the solution. So that's always the goal, in kind of creating trust, confidence, between these relationships, which prevent, not always, but will do prevent them. If it doesn't work, if there's crazy idea and someone is out of his head, definitely we again like to clarify and be transparent about our feelings, and how we can realign this with the right people and the people that can realign this project if there's an issue or somewhat with these crazy ideas.
Cool. Thank you so much. It's quite interesting. And another question is really tricky, and maybe it's some part of your previous answers, but what was the biggest challenge in Locomotive's history?
The biggest challenge, getting recognized.
Okay.
Thousands of agency around the world, big names with a lot of capabilities, and big groups with budget beyond are even something that we can even achieve one day. So how you get you stand out from this, we decided to choose to specialize, and I think finding the best talent, investing in talent, I think was the best things we did to overcome this, and trusting ourselves that we don't need to be the other 360 agency doing everything, and we can focus on what we like, brand experience, design, UX, and creating digital products, websites, interactivity, and just getting confident on building a team, finding the best talent to achieve that. So I guess competition and actually standing out. We never thought that we would end up there. Agency of the year for the third time on Awwwards. Let's plug that. It was just unbelievable this year when we received this, and okay, this is let's pinch ourselves a third time. I guess the people like our vibe, because there's much more exciting project. I found, we don't have the most exciting project, but I think we have a good balance between fun project, I think ingenuity, creativity, and a cool team of a team of cool people, and kind of showcasing that to the people of the community.
Cool. Thank you so much. It was cool. Okay, before we'll move forward, I want to ask our people who are watching us, our guests, please, if you like this conversation, please press like, and
Thumbs
other
up.
people, yeah, because other people will walk around internet and just see that, oh, it's cool conversation, and they will join us. So, and maybe they will ask cool questions. And I really want to thank you guys, because the questions are amazing, and there are so many of them. That's why I will take the pause and I will ask my question, because it matches it matches the story partially, the previous one. You said that the most challenging stuff was to be unique and to be recognizable. That's why I wanted all this stuff. So recently I had a panel discussion about the identity, and we agreed that the studio or the designer with a unique and flexible style is kind of cheater. And it's not about creativity at all when he does or she does always the same and calls it oh, it's my unique style. Does Locomotive Studio have a style which clients are looking for, or you try to create the unique experience for each client? And at the same point, how do you keep this uniqueness?
Well, I think there's a little bit of both. I think you need to kind of find a sort of a style, something you're comfortable with, some work that can be recognized through kind of a signature. I think the greatest painter, if you would ask to do a different style every time, they would probably be like, oh, well, that's not my problem. If you want a style every time, I'm just doing my thing, you know, and it might evolve over time, you know, they might kind of change, but I feel, I think some of people, I think it's totally okay to kind of have a style. And, you know, I think Swiss design, for example, influence a lot of people, and people don't want to kind of play with that too much, and, you know, they will kind of keep within that boundaries, and I think they're doing it great. And some studios are very, very popular, and, you know, like we all look at their work, and they have a very specific style. I think Locomotive did want always to kind of create a specific style. When we hired our first big talent, Dust, which is our creative director, I think he had this kind of essence. He brought this style in, and he helped us to kind of forge a kind of style around what we do, and people recognize some elements. But I feel every client should be some kind of different, you know. I feel there's what we sell to client is to stand out, you know, from its competition. You know, there's a lot of ways to do that. But if we're going to create every time the same thing, I feel we would miss on something. We like to be challenged. Sometimes we might go in a way where it represents a lot of our style, and the challenge which will challenge us. We're definitely open to challenge and to crazy UX ideas, so we can rebound and really kind of rethink what we propose and just push that a little further, you know, like clients with a lot of opinionated client is not always bad. It might be, it might take time, but a lot of time it's been helping to kind of push the project forward, not just stay on the first positions, the first stand. You know, more than half of the time, it will definitely help to get the project evolved.
Cool. Just to finish with that, about the uniqueness and about Locomotive Studio uniqueness. So what is the most powerful marketing tool for Locomotive at now? Is it Awwwards, or you do some other advertising activities like Facebook, Instagram ads, etc.?
We've tried a few things, not that we needed to, but out of curiosity. Didn't work so much for us. We're kind of, we have human first focus, you know, and kind of how we value that relationship. So sending like LinkedIn email, you know, taking our personal account. We tried a few things. It just don't resonate so much to us to push this in the mouth. I feel like there's more and more people that kind of comes to work, and I think what's been working the most is putting some efforts, you know, in doing what we're doing today, to answer an article with code drops, to push projects on Awwwards, and just putting some efforts to push content up. We're not the best at it, but definitely we try to get involved as much as possible. And I think this is also what's been paying off, like creating the reputation. It's not with a Facebook post, unfortunately, that you're gonna create reputation. You can create water to the well. What's the quality of that water? I'm not sure yet. So I think I'm just always seeing that snowball, you know, like you cannot just start with the huge snowball. You kind of have to roll that snowball, you know. And in Ukraine there's some snow, so I can bring that. You know, you kind of roll that snowball, and depending what's your objective, and kind of if you're building a brand, you know, or just working at a company, if like it depends on your goal and how fast you want that ball to grow, and then take you know, try things, try out and errors. We did try a lot of things. I just feel that the reputation that we created comes from being patient, finding the talent, and just collaborating, getting involved into these different networks, design network, which are not always clients, but the educated client will always end up in these spaces to get inspired, to get some references before they add on to a digital project, for example.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I agree totally about the snowball. It doesn't appear from nowhere, so you need to pay a lot of attention. You need to put a lot of effort, and after that, it will grow if you will do everything.
I'm seeing a lot of independent designer that, you know, build their personal brand, and, you know, you see them everywhere, and, you know, you think these people, you know, are like so famous, and like all the, it might be hard for them too, but they really does present themselves really good. They keep pushing it, and definitely, you know, these things pay off, and they are becoming, and or they already became like somebody, or like, you know, like well known in the industry. So this always will pay off in the end, if for clients who wants the best, who wants quality over quantity, or you know, find the best, you know, the best price for a given work.
Cool. Thank you so much. Finally, let's talk about the team and how to make it happen to be the part of your team. So I'm sure that you invite only the best designers to your team. What are the criteria for the designers and front-end developers or other developers who want to join your team? And also, there is another question, like few of them from the audience, but they are pretty about the same. How do you find your talents? Do you grow them by yourself, or do you find mature senior designers and build your team? And another one is about internship. Do you have some internship, or if you do, so how to get there?
All right. So how we get talents, and what kind of talents we get, you know, definitely the first thing is talented people. So like need to work on the craft, you know, practice, especially when you're a student. I think those who will stand out are the one who might not have worked with clients yet, but have been working day and night, you know, passionate about experimenting, typography, like just say, I'm not so good, I'm better at layouts and print stuff. Okay, let's jump into web grids, and, you know, how I can take the best of what I know into creating this editorial design, and how can I bring that into the web, because these are very similar, you know, in terms of practices. So I think practicing and just kind of building on and creating your style somewhat, or your capacity, I think is the most important thing for us. Because if we don't see your work, if we're not impressed by the work we see, you know, we're not going to contact you. So it sucks to say that, but, you know, I think it's the first is to work the craft and making sure that, you know, we get to the best as we can. I think it's in the attitude a lot, just like the client, finding the fit. See how these kids, you know, or like junior, senior, are like determination, the passion. I think that we all have passionate people. I think it's hard to get off a moving train, a fast moving train. So we like people that are on board for the long run. So we do try to find these people who will be motivated, who are not just for us for, you know, a short time, or undecisive people. Then we do look for any kinds of, definitely we might look a bit more sometimes for seniority, so intermediary and senior people. From experience, it's been working since we're a small studio. It's been hard to like teach, because everyone learns, you know, and everyone teach everyone, but it's not because you're intermediary or senior that you don't learn, but starting really from the beginning, it's been hard for a small team sometimes to kind of catch up. So we do have younger people, like people that come out from school. We did a lot of our people that are with us for like 5 to 10 years as all people that came out from school. We took them on a more internship pattern. So, and then we built them, you know, a bit like we want. We show them, for example, our boilerplates and stuff, and kind of forge them a bit how we want them to work within the Locomotive environment. These people coming from school, they've been helping us to evolve. They've been bringing great ideas to the table. So again, there's always this democracy of, it's not the seniority who gets the best, you get the last word, but definitely these people we've been hiring very young, finishing school. They've been involved and they've been a decision maker within our structure.
Cool. Thank you so much. Okay, you said about the talent, you said about passion, but definitely it should be the knowledge as well. Maybe you can recommend something to the young generation or even to senior designers. What should they read? What should they watch? Just some resources, the books or something which will help them to grow faster.
Definitely knowledge. It's a big thing. Everyone can get it. That's why I focused a bit more on practice. Like I think we're all in the mood sometimes when we look at so many projects and inspired. Well, okay, let's get to work. Let's try some of these things, then maybe get back to it and try to balance these things. I think knowledge must come on kind of an everyday basis if we want to stand out, if we want to come out from the mass. So it comes in many forms, it comes in conferences that you can attend online. It comes from a lot of great blogs, depending on what's your the topic that you like. I was mentioning code drops. If you're a coder, there's a lot of codes there. You can start with ideas already made and actually start creating something of your own. So I think that's why knowledge is very closely tied to the talent itself, because you need to put that knowledge and put it in practice. I think I've always been attracted by the way Projector is actually doing the teaching by involving professional in the market, having them to practice, and we're not going to wait 3 years to touch some brand and talk about, hey, there's a client brief now, and you're not just in your head and doing whatever you want. There's some boundaries. There's a sandbox to respect. So I feel a lot of things in Quebec, in Canada, are not to the point, and we mentioned that on our offsite conversation before, and that's why I think you guys in Europe, in general, are a bit more advanced in that matter, where the teaching has evolved a lot, and it evolved a lot of knowledge, but practice and kind of try to push talent and getting feedback, from these people that we see, kind of higher when we're kids, were still at school. So okay, they're just regular people, just like everyone. So I think go for it. Go ask your questions, show them your work, and get feedback. I think that's the best way to get in the door and get noticed.
Cool. Thank you so much. By the way, I really want to mention this because I didn't mention that before. When I texted Frédéric and invited him to be the part of this event, I texted like, "Oh, you're the best student," and so on. We are the small school from Ukraine. He texted me back, "I know your school, and we are excited to be something to do something with you." I was so surprised that the people in Canada, they know Projector school, and they look for the students from this school and so on. So thank you, Frédéric, for watching so widely.
Yeah, I got actually introduced a few years ago by Olga from Vintage, which got involved in the school. So it was a great find back then. And I was looking at the school, not that we don't have good school. I think there's a very specific school in design and stuff, which are recognized. But I don't know. I just felt there was a lot of freshness in the approach with Projector.
Cool. Thank you so much. So we have two questions, quite boring questions, but the people are really interested because you have a huge experience. The first one, it's about the team and about the business. So first one is design or development. What is more expensive and need more resources? And another one is, what do you think about a business model for the small studio? Should it be fixed price, time and material, or retainer? How it works in Locomotive Studio?
Great questions. Maybe I start with the second one.
Yep.
I think it's something that we've been working a lot. As I was mentioning, less and less you want to tell how much time you're gonna spend on it, and what's the value. And this is a challenge for every studio, I'm sure, every independent designer, where you want to kind of balance that as much as possible and value the work that you do. I don't think it's a matter of hours, and I don't think I think we should talk much less about hours now. Doesn't mean that you cannot evaluate something on some kind of basis that but at some point there's also this value that you bring, and if you recognize, if they come to see you, and there's so much time, there's 24 hours in a day, so many clients that you can handle. I think at some point, if there's more clients, more demand that you can deliver, you can start being a bit more focused on your value, focusing a bit more on getting the best, putting yourself in the best position to create the best work possible. So usually that means better timelines, better budget. So yeah, I would really tend people, even the young designers, or developers, to focus more on a project base or value budget.
Cool, thank you. And what about the developers and the designers and developers? Maybe I missed this.
So definitely development as, let's put it in the risk factor. There's definitely more risk into development, specifically the backend. So from experience, definitely a design can get complicated, without naming anyone. If we work with some people with creative and art director in different field that are not in the same field, we can get a kind of creative battle that is not working, like always talking the same language. So we've been experiencing some problematic in that way in the past, but usually it's much more, the risk is much more on the dev side, where we really don't always know what the problem that we might encounter, especially when we talk about functionalities and stuff. These things can range, and double times on a project. So definitely, I would say that I'm sure that if focusing a business or a business model on design UX is much less risky than creating a full service agency like Locomotive. I think we wanted to have control on the end result, be able to not be disappointed maybe on hiring dev studio that might not deliver to the standard that would be looking for. I think that's where we decided to build a small team but still have the capacity to handle everything, and taking on the risk that it involves, and balancing this through the whole Locomotive process, building our process and just challenging it every day, every month, every year, to just reduce the risk factor, specifically within those development phases.
Cool, thank you. I really like that. I have the last question. I mean that not because it's the last, but I really like that it matches with one of the questions from the audience. So I have the question: what are the UI trends you could highlight for 21st and 22nd years? And the same question is from the audience: what is the Locomotive's vision of UI, future UI? In what way it will be developing?
But I was talking about animations a bit earlier. We were big fans of animation. Just sometimes we just don't question ourselves before, why we put these animation on. Now we've been a bit more focused on creating animation or a view path, or attracting the user using animation. So have a bit more purpose for these animation, micro interaction. So I feel more and more moving forward. Not that the project will be less creative, but I feel they should have a bit more focus on why we're doing things, because accessibility, because of performance, because of people have less and less time ahead of us, to find what they're looking for. So I feel that like this is a bit more of a general idea. More specifically, in terms of the form, I feel that we've built a few projects, kind of conversational interfaces, integration of AI, how to create a bit more conversation, something that is not new, but I feel it's a bit more prominent, even for digital campaign or even for onboarding, prospect client on the more not boring side, but just more corporate side. I see more and more company wanting to go forward with these more digital experience. Let's call them still experience. I think these offer a lot of creativity, but they're a bit more into the kind of digital tools, kind of purposeful idea that can actually generate something specific, some specific value for the client, if it's a lead, if it's saving time for any reason. So I feel it's going a bit on that side. If we go on more on the creative, I feel that the content itself will be more prominent. So we've talked a lot of the content, like the container, how we build great container. And I think the content is more and more on the forefront, and the container itself, it's kind of fading away. Like Siri is like a far-fetched example where we don't even have very minimal interface now and to find information. So I feel this will influence the future of some sort. So a bit less UI, a bit more like find other ways to kind of communicate and exchange idea. That doesn't mean that there's no UI. I think the intelligence would move a bit more into kind of this kind of intelligence moving forward.
Cool, thank you so much. Okay, and I'm got out of my questions, but we got another one from Olga. So what is the process of UI presentation to a client at Locomotive? Do you prepare motion via After Effects as an example?
We have two phases. So we usually start with the UX strategy. So basically we have a work session with the client, getting all the data, even from classical personas, user journey. We build the objectives, kind of reorder the objective and focus for the specific project itself. We present that to the client on the first phase with like to define exactly what the boundaries of the project, if we all align on the same objective. Then there's a second phase, which is a work session where we actually build the wireframe together. So as I was mentioning, they have 50% of the answer. So we actually have a whiteboard, and we like to really nail each of these things. What is going to be on these box? What more or less we want to say? We have copyright that's going to jump in, but really focusing on talking every single details with the client, then moving forward, creating the wireframe and having these tools that we all understand for the creative direction following up. So usually the creative direction would take these things. Usually the client already approve this process, already approve wireframe, objectives, all of that. So it's much easier to move into our direction phase, where we start with mood boarding elements with usually keywords. So typography, colors, UI interface, or specific things that will kind of match with the project. Then moving to our direction, working on a homepage or one of the most important page of the site. We usually build kind of device agnostic and mobile first. So building on mobile first, moving on the bigger screen, and trying to present our direction that will reflect most of the device that will be used. We present our direction with motion because I think design today definitely is, motion is an integral part of design itself and identity. So we do push this, and this helps a lot to sell to the client and get confidence. throughout the project. And then we finalize this showcase with a full HTML prototype. So starting the project, we don't build much in principle, for example. We're going to start the real code, building a menu, building the navigation and the pay and the homepage, for example, and all the animation so the client can actually touch the product and feel it. So that's more or less our creative process before moving on to production.
Cool. Thank you for all these details, because it's so important for your sincerity and for your honestness. It's really cool because you share all the details and you think I see the flow. Thank you so much. A short question.
That's part of our secret sauce, but I think it's different for everyone, for everyone's reality. So I think we don't have necessarily the right answers, but I think that that's from our experience, and that's humble answers from our experience throughout the 13 years of working together.
It's really amazing that you share this experience. It's the most relevant,
my pleasure,
the most valuable stuff. Thank you so much. So one short question from the audience as well: Sketch or Figma? And what is, or I will rephrase it, what is the main tool for the designers at your studio?
Depending on the one you're comfortable. Definitely, we've been late in the game. Working on Sketch a few years ago. We learned Sketch and then we moved to Figma. So I missed the Photoshop time where we worked for the past 15 years on Photoshop, and now there's a new thing every year. I hope for us Figma will kind of stay on for a few years, because it's been a process to kind of move. This is kind of a big deal to move these kind of technology and moving to new technology. I think there was a good response from the team feedback, so we've quickly moved after an hour, a year and a half to Figma for many reasons. Now we are fully on Figma since the beginning of the year, so quite late in the game. Let's be honest with it. Again, I think After Effects is a huge tool for designers today to stand out, be able to be a bit auto-sufficient as much as possible, not be the best 3D designer, but be able to create your own model, play with texturing, shading, testing a few things, screenshots, put that in your design, and kind of play around. Photo studio, like having a studio, knowing how to work a camera, or work creating some video content. I think all these things are great tools for designer, not just Figma itself or where actually I create my design, but what's around it and how I can create and design great content for my great interfaces or brand experiences.
Cool, thank you so much. What do you consider as competitors of the Locomotive Studio, or what design studios inspire you?
Many designs. I don't see anyone really as competitors. I think we all have our own thing, and I feel we compete in a very positive way. Maybe Awwwards community and such are helping us when we all get together. It's been a while now, but we all meet together at conferences, and we kind of all feel we kind of belong, in a team somehow. But let's say there's a lot of people inspire us. Bureau in Portugal, Build in Amsterdam, Resin. Who doesn't like the resin stuff? There's so many. It's a mouthwash in the more traditional approach in LA. I think is a great studio, Doug Studio, which has our own kind of craft, a bit more very kind of detailing and layering elements, playing with 3D. Very interesting studio. We've been collaborating with a few studios that we also like Rogue Studio in Brooklyn, doing a lot of stuff with a very, very small team. So a lot of inspiration, I guess. We're also on Awwwards, but trying to find also the smaller studio that don't exactly do what everyone's looking at, but maybe more kind of the brand stuff, and different styles, from these studio where we kind of take, and get inspired from it and bring that into kind of the digital and kind of bring a bit of the best of it. So many inspiration, and it's just exciting to be doing what we do in 2021. There's so much inspiration out there.
I highly recommend you to pay attention to Asian studios because it was really uncovered issue for a lot of Ukrainian people, because I tried to find some recommendations, some names, and I went to a few designers. I was talking about identity design, but it doesn't matter. It's just the design. And nobody couldn't say me any of the studios. And then I went to one Asian studio, which were part of our conference. And I said, like, could you give me the list of Asian studios? They gave me the list. I checked them all. It blew my mind. So they were so interesting. They were so fresh. They were so unexpectedly great.
We're actually in Japan. I think it's a bit more out there. We really like Gardenate, for example, a good friend of us. I think they're doing great stuff, very similar craft than we do. I guess in China, I would have a hard time. I feel like I'm sure there's a lot of great studio, and maybe your piece was I saw some content around that, and like, who are the studio in China? If you can send me a list, I would love to discover the studio because I'm sure, I know there's a lot of great talents in China, and yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely out there, and Asia is very strong as well.
Cool. Thank you so much. We get out of the questions, and now you will even have the time to prepare for the client, for the meeting with the client, because people don't know that after that you have the full day long after our conversation, because we already have the evening and you have just 1 o'clock, as I know, with that 1 p.m. So Frédéric, thank you so much for all the details, for all the inspirations and all the stories which you showed. It's really, really cool. You sent me all of your vibes, and I feel all of them.
Thanks a lot for inviting us, and in the name of the whole Locomotive thing, because the work I'm presenting today is not my work. It's it's our collective work that we do. So we all thank you for this opportunity, and yeah, keep getting inspired and keep inspiring us. And
thank you so much. Thank you so much, and see you next time. And thank you all the guys who texted out the questions, who were here. You are amazing. Thank you so much.
Thanks. We were not alone on YouTube, fortunately.
Yay. Thanks. Bye.
All right. Take care. Bye.